Hi.
What up, what up? It's Sober AF! Woo!
What's going
There
on,
we go.
guys?
Yes, Sammy.
Yeah.
I'm Sammy.
I'm Duke Rumley.
Hi, Duke.
I'm Kai.
Hi, Kai. I'm Jenna.
What's up, Jenna?
What's up?
We are Sober AF Entertainment. We create safe spaces in fun places, which means a lot. So, as you can tell, we have all of our swag here on the table. Beach balls, Narcan, coffee mugs, our silent disco headsets. We got a lot to talk about today.
We do. We do. I think today's topic could be triggering to some because it is talking about triggering events.
Yes.
So just a heads up for those listening. Oh my gosh. This table has
Seriously.
been on one since we got here.
Yeah.
I think I've broken a mug. I've spilled coffee. I've gone all through it. And I know I'm not
It's
the
an
only
official
one.
party. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is official party. We were breaking
Poor
shit here.
table design, guys.
Maybe it's also it's initiation into the podcast
Oh yeah,
room.
there's a ghost in the machine.
Yeah,
Yes.
you have to break something to be a part of the podcast club.
I don't know why the beach ball would suddenly move.
I know.
Didn't move for an hour. Right? We're just hanging out here and suddenly we go live and also
now
the
it's
beach
rolling
ball is
towards-
yes.
I know, maybe it's our voices and the sound waves.
It's the passion. It's the passion, guys.
It's the passion for being sober and having fun. Cool.
Yes.
Well, I think we're gonna jump right on into it, and those are the wrong headphones.
Still here.
It's really cool
cool.
on you though. Just so you know.
They do.
So this is what we are fortunate enough that we have 100 headsets and 3 DJs. So you can listen to 3 different channels, and we bring this to music festivals, and we do it at night, and it's pretty awesome. So if you ever wanted silent disco at your music festival, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah. Cool.
We'll talk about that more later.
Yeah. A little sneak peek.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's get into it. I think, Duke, you're the oldest of us all.
In many ways.
And yes,
In many ways.
in many ways. I think I'm curious to know what it was like for you, early sobriety, or even now, and what triggers you.
Right. Yes, so I'm Duke, old AF. Lived at least 15 different lifetimes in my sobriety. So I think it's a great topic. I brought the red Solo cups and just this can be triggering sometimes. And it's also important why Sober AF's important because, you don't, somebody who's probably a normal person who doesn't have a problem with drugs and alcohol, here's why do we need a sober section? Why do we need sober support? None of it seems to make sense. And just try to explain to them, first off, I have invisible noose around my neck. If I were to drink or to do mind-altering drugs, my background proves that I would just go down this slippery slope and it would be really bad for everyone around me who cares about me. So that's why we started SAFE, is some type of little fellowship community at these important places. So, early on, I was fortunate enough to get dragged to treatment, kicking and screaming at the age of 21. And I was like, this is going to suck. But there was a sober support group inside the Grateful Dead. So how can I, be sober for a couple months? That was the goal. And so for me, it was really going to Grateful Dead shows with buddies, and I didn't have that community, but I found this group during intermission called the Wharf Rats. So kind of the triggering part is, I would go there and people would still be drinking and smoking weed, and how I kind of cope with that is I just drank Mountain Dew for every beer they had, and I'd have a Marlboro Red for every time they fired up a joint. So I was definitely there but just really didn't have much of a skill set besides, use my own non-hallucinogenic substances. And just kind of later times in life, I remember going to Red Rocks and I wasn't really prepared. We were kind of hanging out in the car. It was raining. We didn't go see the opening act, and we had reserved seats. And then we walk in, and it was the fray, and we get down, and we, put basically tarps on our seats and turn around, and the concert starts. and he comes out there and he's just rocking it. And like within 5 seconds of me sitting down, the guy in front of me fires up a joint, right? And I'm seeing him pass it to the buddy in front of him. And I was just not really like mentally prepared for this moment, and there was a part of my brain like, hey, game time. Like if that dude passes you that joint, you got to be able to say, no, thank you, right? It's just, and I wasn't quite there because I had just sat down. And, I think sometimes it's just little stuff like that, I'm fortunate that I haven't had that situation, but I know friends who have. And, sometimes that's all it is just you're not quite ready for that moment. And my history is saying yes to drugs and alcohol. And especially when it was free and it was yours, then we were going to do all of it. So it's just funny now being the guy who's, 34 years sober. Typically, when I walk into a store and there's, alcohol being sold, I just see skull and crossbones now, right? So it's, I went to Mexico with some buddies and we went into the super Walmart of booze. So it's like the size of Walmart, but they only sell alcohol.
Is it like Hazel's in Boulder?
I would say it's 4 times bigger than Hazel's. It's just nuts. And my buddies were like, hey man, you gonna be okay in here? And I just remember thinking, and it kind of that even caught me off guard. I was like, dude, all I see is poison. Like that's how, sober I am at this moment. Just kind of walking in like, nope, that's good for you. I'm glad you can do it. But for me, poison, poison, poison. But I just kind of want to reiterate, we do this just so, I'm prey to self-pity. I'm prey to, misery. If I think I'm the only one who can't do something, I know that it can really ruin the situation. So I've learned, bring a sober wingman with you to come to these events, and you can definitely have a lot more fun that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you mentioned going into a liquor store. When I was riding a pink cloud for about like 6 months, because when I got 6 months sober, I had gone over to this like boutique for dogs to get like more food for our dogs at my family's house. And the old liquor store that I used to go to and my family goes to, it's also a butcher. And they sell like deli stuff and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm feeling really like I want to test myself. So I went in and I went in and it's just like a sea of alcohol to my right. And I was like, fuck you. No, I'm going to go get a fucking Red Bull and, like, be fine. So, like, I come into this liquor store, just get a Red Bull, and then I go pay for it, and I walked out of there. I was like, dude, I'm a fucking beast. Like, I am so fucking set. And then 2 months later, I don't know why, and I think this is a really important thing is being sober is never linear. Like, it's never like, I get 6 months, I'm fucking great. Like, I get 8 months, oh, dude, you can't fucking touch me, right? Like, when I had 8 months sober, my parents were having people over. And when I was first in sobriety, they really didn't drink around me, didn't have alcohol in the house, like all that kind of stuff. And I walked downstairs and there was a bottle of rum on the counter. And I saw that thing and I had the biggest fit of like, holy shit, like it just looked so good to me. It looked like, and I freaked out because I hadn't felt this way in a while. And I ran upstairs, locked myself in a room, and I called my sponsor. And then the biggest thing for me was also, I think I had a cigarette. And I just want to say I saw a meme that was like, this is a spiritual experience, and it was a cigarette and a black coffee.
Right.
So
it will get you through.
Honestly, like, it's fine if you like deal with nicotine after a while.
Right.
Okay, like it's fine. But I just calmed myself down through the tools that I had learned through either people who had longer time with sobriety than me, or what I had learned in treatment with like DBT skills or CBT skills. And eventually I was fine. But in that moment...
So what are those skills?
So a lot of them... my favorite skill is probably temperature. So, and actually, I just talked to my therapist about this recently, was You either take a cold like water and splash it on your face, and it resets the, I think, parasympathetic nerve system. When you're having like a panic attack or you're having an anxiety attack, the cold will actually snap your body out of it and reset your nervous system. The other thing you can do if you don't want to splash water on your face is you can take ice cubes and you can put them on your lymph nodes or on your wrists and hold them there, and that will also help reset your nervous system.
That is the tip of the day, guys. Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Just the tip. Woo, 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 woo. Well, I added an applause.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm still learning.
Killing it.
So, anyways, but using those skills that I had learned, and breathing's a great one. Meditation is a big one for me. Specifically, I love Odessa, and they have one song off their latest album called, what is it? Something About You. It's like Just You or something. And it kind of is very meditative. I stay present. That's the biggest thing. And I breathe. And that has helped me a lot. Because, like, sometimes I don't even get triggered by, like, seeing drugs or alcohol. Like, someone could do something and I don't like what they did. Like, I just have this, like, emotional reaction. And instead of reacting, I try to respond. So I, like, pause, do my little, like, breathing, maybe grab an ice cube, something like that. And then I respond and I breathe. And I'm more likely to not be an asshole, if we're being completely honest. Right. So those are my little, like, tips. But, yeah, I don't think people realize that you don't have to be triggered by drugs or alcohol. Like, seeing them, like, that itself is very triggering. But it can be stuff that isn't. Like, they always say it's like tripping over your shoelace. Like, that can be triggering.
Well, and like for young men, and I just want to speak for you know, a couple different people that I know personally, but one of the biggest triggers is when the girl you're flirting with or the girl you're dating or the girl that you're in a relationship is still drinking and you're not, when she has those drinks around you, that could definitely be like, oh my gosh, like, well, you know, she's sitting here offering to me, she's telling me it's okay. I'm a very avid gym goer. I like to take care of my body. I like to instead of, you know, using substances and alcohol, I just replace that with the dopamine high that I get from the gym. And the thing that I tell them is, like, I can't right now, I'm on a program, and, you know, they'll push a little bit, they'll be like, no, it's okay, like, you know, just drink with me. And I'll tell her, like, no, like, you know, I'm doing this for me right now, and this is something I care about deeply, and it doesn't have to be something as intense as, like, oh, I'm an alcoholic, or, oh, I'm this and that, you know. Sometimes, as a young man, you may not always want to tell your crush that, or tell your date that, and so just letting them know I'm on a program, this is something I really care about, I appreciate it, but I can't do that right now, is something that has been very effective for me. And also just knowing that, you know, in the past, when you do have that drink, you know, what's happened? You know, how many times have you blacked out? How many times have you lost that mental filter and just said some off-the-wall thing and just kind of like ruined the vibe of the moment? You know, I have to be very cognitive and very aware that, you know, if I do take that step and I do take that drink, like, I know where it goes. And at the end of the day, you know, the way that I act or the things that I do is not the person that at the end of the day I want to be, and I don't want that to be reflective upon my own personal brand as a human being. And, you know, being able to build the skill of having self-awareness of when you're having those cravings, of when you're having that moment of, oh, that sounds nice, you know, being able to have that ability to be like, oh, but okay, I know where that path goes. I know where it ends up every single time. And I've had enough run-ins with that situation to know that it does not change. So, you know, now it's great because I just go to the gym and I feel great about myself and I sweat it all out and I literally, like, kill myself in the sauna or I kill myself on my sets. And afterwards, the dopamine rush is just so intense and so good that, you know, it's as good or if not better than the actual alcohol, but that's just me speaking to my own experience and my own opinion. You know, I take everything to the nth degree, and that means the gym, that means my recovery, that means anything that I'm doing, I have to go all in or I'm all out, and I'm okay with that.
And Kai, you actually mentioned a few DBT skills, and I don't think you realized it. So when you envisioned you kind of play the tape forward. And it's called play the tape forward. And you think and you go, if I do this, what are the next options? Or like, what's the next outcome?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the one thing is, when you play the tape forward, you can say, actually, I know what happens when I go down this path. You know it's not the best idea. And you can take that pause and you can move forward. The other one you mentioned was opposite action, which is, I kind of feel like using, but I'm going to go work out
Yeah.
and get dopamine a different way.
Absolutely.
And that's perfect. So just want to say, you're bringing up things I learned in treatment
Yeah.
and probably didn't even know about it.
Well, and I think that's awesome, and that's what I love about recovery is that there's so many things that overlaps into multiple people's experiences, but the same core values and techniques are very similar. And so if you're able to tap in, like I call it hacking your hormones, you know what I mean? If those things provide you dopamine, you're a human being. You can't exist without dopamine. Go do something different to get dopamine. Replace those unhealthy habits with good habits. And, one of the things that pulled me through, hard moments the most or, getting into sobriety is when you make those fuck ups, and you just feel so terrible. You have this anxiety, you have this impending calamity, you just feel like such shit about how, you just feel like shit about yourself. Taking that and be like, okay, I never want to feel this way ever again. I'm done. I do not want to feel this way ever again. What can you do to ensure that you're not going to have that feeling again? And instead of...
Amends.
Amends.
Make amends.
That,
Trust
but
me, I'm doing that all the time. I've gotten really good at it.
Making amends
I
does
fuck
help.
up every day.
Yeah, exactly.
I just
Exactly.
got done with my first set of 12 steps.
Oh,
All
really?
right.
How'd that go?
It feels really good. I actually saw my grandma, this grandma, Thursday. I made amends to her, and I got to spend like 3 hours with her about
Wow.
talk louder.
Yeah.
Okay, hi.
There you go.
Which is really cool, but something along the lines of like what we're talking about with triggers and stuff. I was in rehab for like 2 years straight, back to back. So I went to like wilderness, I went to different states, I went to like inpatient or detoxes or psych wards, and like I remember coming back to Colorado and going to treatment in Colorado, and the importance of like community and why I think safe is so important is like we were walking on the hill and I forgot where we were going. We were like coming back from a meeting because we used to like to rock climb and then go to a meeting, and
This is in Boulder, right?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Boulder.
The hill is like a party central for CU, just to let you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there was like that was like the first time I smelt weed in I don't know, like a year and a half, 2 years, and I remember sitting there, and if I wasn't with like my two other friends, I sure would have went back and been like, hey, can I hit that?
Right.
So it was like I told them, I was like, do you guys smell that? What's going on? Like I haven't like been around weed in so long. And it was really hard for me, and honestly, like just having two people there and then knowing like they're probably maybe have the same feelings, and then them expressing it to me and talking to like another human made it so much easier and more comfortable. And I didn't feel like alone. I feel like that's something that addiction loves to like grab onto, is being alone and feeling isolated and whatnot. And to be able to like go to events like a rave or wherever, like the basketball games or festivals, and just like have a group of people who like you like know deep down like feel similarly to you is super important. Another thing that triggers me is like rolled up money, and I remember like putting money, like I go to 12-step meetings, and I know like putting the money into the basket, like there'd be sometimes I'd hold the dollar bill and roll it, and I'd be like, what the hell? And I'd be like, I can't do this. And that's like early on in my recovery. But things like that, just like small things that aren't really the drug, but like bathrooms can sometimes trigger me. Like people who are like younger, and sometimes vapes trigger me. Not too much though. But the smoke. But things along that lines. But I really think what's really important is the community aspect and having somewhere to go. And I think the tools we talked about are super important. I've also learned the DBT and CBT skills, and that's helped me a lot. But I think like the biggest one was the community.
It's funny because I think, remember, we've said it before, we'll say it again, but the opposite of addiction is what?
Connection.
Oh, yeah, that whole cliche, right? I agree with you, Sammy. When I was using and stuff, the only place I liked to use was by myself, so I could use how much and what I wanted, with no judgment, except I was the one judging myself. I was never free of that, right?
Which is the worst.
Yeah, and then the other thing that's really scary is, like, if I'm using by myself, there's no one who can save me. My dog probably could have, like, there was a high probability I could have passed out and my dog just watched me die on the floor, right? And so I think people don't realize about, like, going to festivals and going to, like, concerts or sporting events is you are a part of a bigger community, and people don't realize it, is like, you don't know how someone's been using, but you can save them, and you can save them with Narcan.
Yeah, it's very important to at least have it in your car, guys. I actually just took a training on it. It's super easy to use. You just take off the plastic tip. Once you open the box.
That's what the box looks like.
Yeah, this is what the box looks like. You'd open it up. You would take out. It's going to be a container with a nozzle that goes up your nose.
Open it.
I can open it.
Yeah. So Sober AF has given out over 1,000 boxes so far of Narcan. And we did this at Global Dance a year ago. And the security, security let us know they used 4 of them that first weekend to revive some people. So.
And it's super easy to use, guys. You just basically put this up their nose. You're going to hold down the trigger for about 2 seconds, and then you're going to pull it out, and you're going to wait. If nothing happens within 2 to 3 minutes, you're going to administer a second dose. Again, you hold down the trigger for 2 seconds, then you'll pull it out and wait for a response. Before this, obviously, call 911. That is the most important thing. You need professionals to come by and make sure that, resuscitation is being performed properly. But in the meantime, make sure you do use this. I would, at most, administer up to 3 doses, but anything more than that might be doing more harm than good. So,
I would also say Narcan typically works for about 30 minutes, and fentanyl can last up to an hour and a half. So just have somebody keep an eye on that person, and definitely call in emergency. You need professionals to keep this person alive.
Yeah, because I don't think people realize that what's happening in the body is that the brain is no longer performing its involuntary, like, actions. So, like, when we breathe, we don't think about breathing. It just happens, right? Well, what's happening with Narcan is it is triggering the body to pull that response and start breathing because the body has forgotten to do that. And so what you're doing is getting them more oxygen while the paramedics are coming to save them. So you're not at the end all, you're saving a life. You are saving a life, but, like, you are getting them more time to be alive to get to the place they need to be.
that is absolutely correct.
We had this person get revived, and I mentioned earlier, at a music festival, and they were able to catch it on a security camera. It was like in a restaurant area, and the guy had it on his phone, and he showed it to me. And it was just a guy walked out of the bathroom. He had done a line of cocaine in the bathroom, thinking it was safe, and sat down with his family, immediately nodded out. They started, like, slapping his face and throwing a drink in his face. And within about 60 seconds, you could see his face was turning gray. I mean, it was just that fast. And fortunately, a security guard walked up and was able to give him Narcan under one nose, and he was still pretty groggy. And then, 2 minutes later, they did the second nostril, still pretty groggy, but alive. And, just kind of waited for the ambulance to show up. But, if you don't have Narcan, you can always do CPR, right? I mean, that's the nice thing is, you can still breathe for that person. You're going to have to do it for a long time. You may want to get a lot of friends. But you can still do the compressions on the chest and do the breathing for them.
Yeah, and especially I've been around someone who's OD'd, and I was on substances as well. I was not in recovery, and it was very hard to be, like, doing CPR while I'm not okay.
Oh, shit.
And so, like, in those moments, I, like, wish I had Narcan, But I had like no idea, knew nothing really much about it, how to use it.
Sammy saving a life.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
God damn.
Yeah. It was not fun. In those moments, like, you're like, oh, it's all okay, it'll be fine. And then the next thing you know, your friend's, like, on the bed not breathing, which is very sad.
Yeah.
Or having a seizure.
Yeah. I think this just reiterates why safe and sober AF is so important, right? Not only are we a nonprofit who is trying to show you how to have fun and have a good time and be sober, but we are in places like festivals and stuff for people who aren't prepared. And we are there to help possibly save a life. And the other thing, too, is we specifically, I think we talk about harm reduction with Sober AF.
Right.
Not necessarily saying you have to get sober, but if you're going to do drugs, at least maybe take a fentanyl strip before you do the drug. Like, and I mean, I work a 12-step program. I know Sammy has talked about working a 12-step program. We are here to show you that could be an avenue if this is a bigger problem. And I think it's very good to do that.
Great.
There you go.
Yeah, I just think Narcan is super important to carry with you. You know, you never know. It may not even be anybody a part of your friend group that overdoses, but being able to like have that with you and possibly save a life is pretty important because you never know.
We also bring fentanyl test strips to different festivals when allowed. Certain states, they're not allowed. They're seen as some type of paraphernalia. But if we're allowed to bring them, we bring them.
That's awesome. I think with all this in mind, we gotta remember that we are super fun. And
Super fun!
And like, I know this has been kind of like a darker topic today, but it's important to talk about.
We're only talking about overdose deaths, right? Only
fine.
110,000 kids not on the planet anymore. I don't know why that's not, so dark. Fuck yeah, it's dark.
It's fucking
Oh,
sad.
it's
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is we have to remember at the root of it, they were trying to have fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we are trying to show them that they can have fun without mind-altering substances. And you can actually have a better time doing that. And so I think this is a perfect time for us to say, hey, I think we've got a silent disco coming up. Or like, hey, I think we've got an abs game coming up. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong. You are 100% correct.
Woo, 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 woo.
So Sober as Fuck Entertainment will be hosting a sober support tailgate with the Nuggets on March 21st. So we have $41 seats Thursday versus the New York Knickerbockers. And then on that Friday night, we're doing a poker fundraiser in North Glen. So it's a $60 poker tournament with half the winnings going to the players and half of it going to Sober AF Entertainment. Avalanche game versus the Montreal Canadiens on March 26th. And then a silent disco with 3 different DJs here in Longmont, April 5th. So feel free to go to our website. You can also see different festivals that we have confirmed so far. Global Dance, Floyd Fest, Imagine, website soberafe.com. You'll be able to see all of our stuff. And to your point, yeah, we get some discounted seats on there.
Sweet. I think my next question is I kind of want to try something here on the podcast, which is, I don't know, what are you guys listening to? Like, to have fun. Like, if you are in the shower and you have your speaker going, hot water pumping, you're feeling good, shampoo in your hair. You maybe have a little mohawk going. Who knows? Shampoo bottle in your hand, singing. What are you singing?
John Summit. Sorry.
Katy Perry. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. One at a time, guys. One at a time. Eminem. Lose yourself.
Yeah, yeah. That's gangster in the shower. Yeah, that's dope. I like that.
You have the crowd going, arm up and down,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Just like in the movie.
Exactly. 8 Mile.
That'll be on next week's podcast. Just kidding. So I have been listening to one of my original DJs that I fell in love with, DJ AM, who unfortunately passed away of a drug overdose 15 years ago. So I'm not quite sure why this week I've been going to a bunch of his old stuff, but been finding it on YouTube and listen to the different smash ups he did. And, we just definitely, still appreciate his music,
Sick.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. I usually listen to old school stuff, so like Ice Cube, NWA, stuff like that. I'm very into hip hop myself, so if I'm not listening to music, I got an instrumental playing, and I'll literally just rap to myself in the shower. I am trying to make music right now as it is, so I don't know. It's just a good way, you know. Nobody's listening to you. You could do some goofy stuff, you know. So like the shower is a perfect place for you to hear that reverb. You get to hear your own sound, so I think it's cool.
Nice. For me, I'm gonna have to probably go with a classic with "Sweet Child of Mine" by Guns N' Roses. Specifically, like there's a specific version too. It's from a movie called Captain Fantastic, and they take it and they make it into an acoustic version. And not like acoustic, like as in it's very slow.
Can
and
we
like,
play it at the end of the podcast, maybe?
No, it'll get copyrighted.
Come on.
I'll put like a link
Are
to
we
it.
allowed to 5 seconds or no? We can't share it.
No, but
No?
it's very good. And it's a group that sings it, and it starts off very slow, and then it gets really fast, but it's all acoustic instruments, and like there's a kid drumming on a box. Like it's so
yeah.
sick. And the movie's fantastic too. Captain Fantastic is the movie. And it's a family that sings it, and it's really cool. But I think that one specifically, that's like a good one that I'd go to. But yeah, I think we should do like shower thoughts maybe as a segment.
I just had a thought. So
Okay,
we
perfect.
did hot yoga last night with the Phoenix.
Yes.
And one of their poses.
What?
Yes.
There's hot yoga?
For 75 minutes.
Dude, it's lava.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's,
Wait, where?
110 degrees.
Soul 19 over on Camp Pratt Boulevard.
Every Sunday, 6, it's free. It's the problem because I can't say no to free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Yeah,
shout
if you
out
guys-
to Ingrid.
Yeah, and you'll walk out looking 5 years younger. It's crazy. You sweat out all the toxins. You sweat out, and especially if you're trying to quit nicotine, it's the way to go because you're going to sweat out all that nicotine, and it's a good way to kind of like avoid that irritation and like aggressiveness that you get with this.
So I was triggered in hot yoga last night because one of the poses is the Captain Morgan pose. Like you put your hands on your hips,
Yeah,
you got one
arm
foot
up.
up. I'm looking around and I'm like,
That's my dad's
this
favorite
is
run.
motherfucking Captain Morgan.
Yep.
Nobody knows this. So, and I don't want to
Shout
crack
out
a
to
joke.
Bernie, my dad.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
his
yeah.
favorite old man. Like fucking rum. So shout out Bernie.
Way to go, Bernie. It's also probably a DBT thing that, you're supposed to do that right before you give a talk if you want to feel powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a thing. My
Yeah.
mom does that.
Or-
It's like a powerful
Yeah.
stance.
Yeah, do a power and then do like the lion's breath. Have you
I'm
ever
not.
heard
What?
lion's breath?
No.
Yeah, it's
I'm not
interesting.
doing I'm
yeah.
not doing lion's breath with the podcast and the mic this close because it's just gonna sound like
Guys, I've been listening to country.
Sammy hates country.
I'm just
I
kidding.
know.
I'm
no,
just
but
kidding.
really more like folk.
It's more folk country, not like pop country.
Oh, okay.
Different country.
Like
I mean,
basic-
I like some
I'm
country
basic.
guys.
I
So.
like Noah Khan.
Yeah, he's folky.
Lee Bryce converted me to country.
See,
I came out of the closet for country once I went to a fundraiser with Lee Bryce. I was like, all right, shit, I get it. I'm in.
Yeah, well, yeah. Once you hear that right song, you're like, okay, I can get down with some country. Yeah.
have you guys listened to Coulter Wall? He's like 23, works on a ranch, but he sounds like he's been smoking for 50 years and has the deepest voice I've ever heard and can play a lick out of a guitar like no one's business. Specifically, Devil Wears a Suit and Tie or Sleeping on the Blacktop. I mean, like, these are legit.
Jen is coming out of the closet.
Yeah.
She is totally into country. She's naming multiple different songs.
Have you guys, I played softball in South Carolina collegiately for a year. I
Right.
had to come out of the closet
exactly.
for country.
Yes, amen to
That's
that.
so fair.
And I mean, like, parties there where you drive in the backwoods and you start line dancing in mud and like
Yeah.
you do truck pulling. Have you ever heard of truck pulling?
Yeah.
Truck pulling, man. Like that's a Friday
That's
night
out
with
of my realm.
Sober AF tour of truck pulling
Yep.
in 2024.
exactly.
Tennessee, Arkansas, Nashville.
Oh my
I
God, just
need
go
to
through the
see
Bible
that.
Belt.
Do you pull trucks? I don't
Yeah,
know.
so you hook 2 trucks up, and then they go up against each other in reverse, and whoever wins. In mud,
So
specifically.
it's like tug of war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. With
Yeah.
trucks. Grown up tug of war.
That is such a redneck American thing. It's so great.
Oh my
I love
god!
it.
The first time, let me say this correctly too. I remember my friends were like, "You want to come to a low country boil?" I said, "What did you just say to me?" Low country boil, and it's low country boil is the correct term. And they have a bonfire. They make basically like the literal name of the dish is low country boil, and it's like crawfish, sausage,
Yes, please.
corn,
Yes.
potatoes, all this in a big
Potatoes.
potatoes. All this in a big crock pot, or not crock pot, but like big pot. They cook it outside. Then they lay down a sheet of like parchment paper on a table, and they just dump it on there. And then you go in there with your bare hands and start eating it off the table.
Sounds
That's some primal stuff right there. Yeah,
I'm
hell
telling
yeah.
you. And I'm gonna be honest.
Making me hungry.
Yeah, I'm starving now.
Then you go and you like shoot some guns. Like it's that was Friday night fun.
I'm triggered for the South right now.
Yeah, me too.
I
Right,
mentioned
exactly.
country once, and
Yes.
Jenna goes off.
Yeah, dude.
That's her like realm.
It is my realm. I think
love it, though.
it's like the other thing is like secretly. A lot of people don't know this. I was a horse girl growing up.
Yep.
That was a big one. A lot of people didn't know that one. I had my whole room was like horse themed, but now my room is not horse themed. Thank God. I've grown out of that phase.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. It took a lot. It takes a lot coming out as a horse girl right now. A lot of courage.
You're so brave.
I know. And now
I'm thinking
I
how
have,
much it cost your dad. That's what I have empathy for. I'm like,
no, because I
a
did
horse
ride.
is a hole in your bucket.
No, dude.
I don't care how big that
I
bucket is.
rode-
It's a hole in the bucket.
I rode a horse. I like took lessons for a while, and then it got down to softball or horses, and I ended up going softball. And so
Did you take the horse to the boil?
take my horse down in the boil. Yeah, no. And when I used to drink, after South Carolina, I got an accent after living in South Carolina for a year, like just a little twang.
Oh, yeah.
And when I would drink at like CSU, I would start having a twang with my talking, and that's when people knew I was drunk. Is because I was the twang is coming out.
The drunk meter was like, oh, okay.
All right, all right,
Don't-
Southern.
Right.
And then yeah, I mean, it's funny now. I like bringing it out sometimes because it's just a fun little ego you can have. But like these are fun things now. Like I can do stuff now, and now I'm not as triggered as like.
It's so funny because when it comes to alcohol, they talk, like you're having like a physical reaction to it, right? Well, I just break out in handcuffs, so it's just like, that's how you know when I'm drunk, is I'm walking away in handcuffs.
Exactly. No. Anyways, you guys got some of my lore today. It's Jenna's lore.
I like it. Yes, the lore of Jenna.
We're
gonna have-
lore alarm.
Yes.
Yeah, there
A little
you
all
go.
y'all.
Yeah, exactly. If I start saying yeehaw, y'all know why.
Oh, yeah.
I like it.
All right, cool. Well, I think this is all we got for you guys today. I think we had a good time, did we not?
It's been real. It's been fun, but alcoholism is really not that fun.
Ooh.
Boom.
And
we
remember,
go.
guys, if you come to our events, we are the prehab before rehab. So,
Oh, yes.
just want to say preventative stuff here before you have to go to treatment, because I can tell you treatment is not that fun.
It's a waste of money.
It's yeah. So, anyways, prehab before rehab. Check us out. Okay.
Safe.
Safe.
Safe is sexy.
There you go.
All right, y'all. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.